Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Barter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. I believe we're on episode 101. We're on episode 111. We actually made it that far. I am honestly shocked. I thought I would have gotten very bored of this by now. But the one person not bored by this content is me, so I don't know, that says something, I guess. Oh well. Either way, thank you to those who actually do watch. I'd hate to think if there was somebody out there who's watched all 101 of these episodes. That would be pretty awful. My nose got itchy as soon as I started recording. Every time I turn the camera on, there's always something that goes wrong. Like, immediately. And I do not get why. Let's just... There's a film behind me for a second. I did, in fact, take hay fever medication this time because I knew that I was going to be continuing my quest to explore every nook and cranny of the city of Crawley, or the town of Crawley, whatever. And here we are, on a hitherto untrodden path by me, basically. I went all the way over to what I presume is closer to the station. Because, let's face it, the only time I'm actually going to be going around there for some time. At least I think. Because, yeah, one thing that happened this week is that I actually got a job offer. And the job offer is as a location marshal or a runner, basically, on a feature-length Christmas film. I don't know if I'm supposed to say what Christmas film it is. I feel like that's all the details I can probably provide on here. I don't know, maybe they're keeping the title as a huge secret or something. I mean, who knows? I actually haven't looked into whether the film has been announced or not, and they've barely even mentioned to me what company it is. Like, honestly, they sent me on a wild goose chase, basically. Because the reason I even got to be offered the job in the first place was because of was a friend of my dad's who knew me from a photo shoot that he did of me years ago, and which he then actually, he then actually made into, well, no, it went into another thing. Sorry, that was for my MIT profile. Anyway, so yeah, that friend told my dad to send me the contact information of somebody else. Who then actually gave me the details of yet a fourth person, who's the location manager. And at that point I said, okay, well, this is the details. No, send me your email address, and then we'll give you even more stuff. It's like, I've barely even been told who these people are by this point. I don't even know the title of the film or even the name of the company is because of the email that I got sent. It's like, there were at least 5 steps in there. I feel like one would have sufficed. And here's the thing, I'm sure I'm not the only person who is there, that, you know, who they've offered this to. I'm sure there's going to be other runners there, or location marshals, whatever they're calling it. It can't just be me. So they're probably doing this for everyone that they've offered that to, and the actual prep and shooting are on Friday, Monday and Tuesday. So, good lord, I'm very confused. I feel for them if that's their methodology for everyone. God, I'm sure they've got people like returning to the job. It's not just me. But then again, if they're offering it to somebody who is known to one of the people involved with the shooting through their dad, I feel like there's something that's like, oh yeah, maybe we're a little desperate. I'm not sure. That's just speculation on my part. I'm not gonna make any declarations or anything like that. And yes, I am indeed heading towards the station now. The place is based in London, but apparently, even though Crawley's actually technically closer, the actual shooting area is actually back closer to Godalming than it is here. And the train is actually better doing that. I still think that, considering that I'm here right now, it's probably a little bit more convenient to, you know, actually... it would have been more convenient to actually go from here instead of going like back up and then down again, because that's going to be more travel time. But then again, I haven't looked into the complicated train system, which I guess is far worse. So you think it would be better, but basically it's not. So there you go. That's interesting. I don't know. We have a very, very weird railway system around here. I mean, I would compare it to the mostly simple Spanish railway system. Well, I mean, not the Spanish one, the Madrileñan one specifically, actually, because in Metro de Madrid is actually, you know, much better structured, even though it looks bizarre. But then again, it's not like all we can really compare it to is the internal London railway system, rather than, I guess, the closest thing that you would probably compare it to is like compare the regular railway system is to probably like Renfe or Cercanías or something, which I realise nobody who's listening to me right now cares about. I'm sorry, just for a long time when I was in Spain, I was really obsessed with the railway system. Like, I don't know why, I guess I just had like nothing else going on in my life or whatever. But since it was the first time we actually lived in sort of the minor outskirts, but also somewhat in the middle of a city, and a big city at that, rather than, we lived in Raleigh before that, but we were kind of like in a remote area usually, as it was to school, and that was it. But yeah, so I guess something about that just struck with me for no reason. I was hoping that by this point I'd be able to get away from the roads, but no, it's still worse. I mean, yeah. But either way, like if you compare the metro, actually, you have something like the London Underground, which, yes, is far worse. Hold on. So many car engines. There we go. I have to find somewhere that I can cut off to and walk somewhere else. Anytime now. Wow, look at that. Danger of death. Fantastic. Not going near that then. My goodness. I guess I can head towards the Snooty Fox, all the way over there. That's the best name for a pub I've ever heard in my life. Oh, where do you go to drink? The Snooty Fox. Fantastic. Okay, hold on, this person here. There we go. This is the worst idea I've ever had. Like, I have to hold my phone here so people can hear me. My goodness. Well, I found the station. I did it. And it's the worst that I've actually been in for a while. I actually walked here, hooray. Should we go up? Yeah, let's go up. Let's get away from the cars for a bit. Yeah. Just walk up. Oh, it says please wear a face covering considerate of others. I do have a face mask with me, but it's like, you know, it's actually I sneezed all over it a couple of days ago. So it's probably not going to be the best for anyone, quite honestly. Yeah, I was in a shop in Aldershot, and hold on. Okay. Now, I can't tell, is the light green for me? Yes, it is. Okay. Sorry, it's not placed very visibly. And this one's red. Okay. All right. I spot a road with less occupants. I'm going to go down there. I shall avoid the snooty fox, which is still over there in that direction. Oh well, this was a fun detour. Wait, they've got their own road. No, I'm going towards the snooty fox. Yeah, I'm going to do that. There's no cars coming. All right. Okie dokie. I completely forgot where I was. Oh yeah, London Underground. Because while the my word, as soon as I start, it just gets worse. I really, really messed up while trying to come over here. I know I'm going to title this video "The Worst Idea I've Ever Had in My Life" or something. Something to that effect, I don't know. Oh, okay. That path seems to be almost sealed. Is it sealed? Oh, nope, there's a bridge. Okay, we're going down there. Hello, snooty fox. Backwards. Okay, we're going this way. Sort of sign for a light medium. Makes me think of a light motion, which that's the thing that Blackjack uses. If you guys don't know who Blackjack is, she's the one responsible for series like Judgment or whatever. If you know me from GLVA, then this is one of the only people who still uses that place. So I imagine that might be the connection. Or at least it is for right now. Look at this bridge. Look at this bridge. Okie dokie. This is a great location to play a good old-fashioned game of poo sticks. Another time, got no one to play with. Doesn't really work that way. Great. Now the wind is in the way. I can't catch a break, can I? But yeah, Blackjack has been collabing with me a lot recently. We kind of got really carried away. It was at first going to be, the classic setup of, oh yeah, you do one video on my channel, I'll do one video on yours, that kind of thing. The classic setup that I do with most gacha tubers that I'm collabing with for the first time. However, it quickly turned into, oh yeah, you do like 5 videos on here, I'll do 5 on there. We'll review different things. We'll just like examine each other's work, read some fanfics, do another pitch meeting parody, just generally have a good time for hours. So, yeah, it's safe to say that I definitely made a friend this week. Good lord. Yeah. It's been very weird as well, because we found out that we have a lot of things in common. Like, in terms of our actual media tastes. Like, stuff that I don't normally see people, like, talking about with me, Stuff like, I don't know, Dragon Ball, Ryan George. I know, I have to think of some other examples off the top of my head, but yeah. Some ways of being as well. It's not just AFMAO. In fact, I think that AFMAO is one of the things that we don't necessarily... Oh wait, no, actually no, we reference Kawaii-chan, so yeah, we do have that in common. I don't really know. It's been a very interesting experience, not gonna lie. Alright, we're back on some roadie territory now. Come on. I try. Oh hey, look at that. It turns out that I have found myself at Hazelwick Plaza. over, sorry, there, that sign says Hazelwick Plaza. So yeah, I've gone to Hazelwick. If people are more familiar with my channel, they might remember the series that I did a while ago, like ages ago, back in 2016, rebooted 2017, that old, called The Last Log of Tertius Hazelwick. Another one of my incredibly failed Minecraft roleplays, which I've been meaning to revisit in some sort of like analysis video, basically, just to see if there's any new interest people might have before bringing it back, because it is an interesting one, and it almost requires no mods whatsoever. It's like, considering that mods have kind of mostly fallen out of fashion nowadays in terms of Minecraft, I think actually it's safe to say that a sort of vanilla style roleplay might be better. I don't know. Maybe more people will be invested. I'm not sure. Oh, come on. I want to cross. I want to cross. I want to go. Welcome to trying to social distance at the same time as, you know, not get run over. Really fun. Really a great time. Okay. Let's head over here. A little bit more remote. But yeah, one thing that I haven't meant to bring back actually, that I talked about with Aiden yesterday, is since a lot of the voice actors for the gacha projects haven't been bringing in their lines, or, you know, the editors of Puppy Love have, you know, been having a break because we're still waiting on that one scene 4 weeks later. And, which, by the way, apparently we got an update on that. The scene itself didn't get saved, and the person in charge wanted to actually redo it. So I was like, yeah, you know what, go ahead. I'll take a chance on you for a second time. Because honestly, the person is a reliable editor. It's just that, I don't know, they've had a bit of a bad patch or something. I really don't know. But yeah, what I was saying was that because all of that stuff is going on, and I basically have almost, you know, no gacha projects being worked on at the moment. I've gone back to working on the first episode of Siren Story because there's a couple of edited, like, recreations I had to do, basically, because some of the actual files were deleted by me a while ago. And yeah, essentially, I've been working on that. Sorry. But essentially, I'm thinking, yeah, why not work on some of the Minecraft stuff that I put off because of the gacha things? Because obviously I've been meaning to do Psychonaut Season 2 for some time. Like, Season 1 ended in 2020. I was like, well, you know, it's on a hiatus for sure, but I don't want it to just be fading into obscurity. Like, I actually have plans for the second season of this. Like, Season 2 was supposed to be where everything happens, basically. Because, you know, it's like how, because it's based on Paul Sawyers Jr.'s Tale of Kingdoms, you know. So, in Tale of Kingdoms, what happened was, like, after episode 18, which I think is actually where we're at, weirdly enough, he actually, he actually decided to, he actually, like, became king. And then the rest of the series was, you know, him as king. So there are a couple of things to consider there, because the world itself, I'm not even sure if it's still saved or not. So it might be that I can just use a new location, and so that, like, the city builder took Sir Nicanor and Squire Banquo to a new location, and that's where they are. But that would also mean we never really see the guild again, which would be a real shame. And use the more updated Tale of Kingdoms 2 mod, which starts you off as already being king. Tale of Kingdoms 2 wasn't out when Paul Sawyers Jr. made his show, so it actually has something that can be new. That's the current plan I have. Otherwise I can just try and dig up the file, see if the actual server works. But yeah, I tried to actually make click on the city builder and become king while it was on Eternos, and it just crashed. So I'm not really sure, but obviously I do want to have, like, the help of others here, because obviously times have moved on since the days of Paul Sawyers Jr., because this series was done in 2011 to 2013. Definitely some time has passed. So yeah, I'm wondering, basically, because on one hand I feel like on one hand I feel like I'm try and save that progress, especially with all of the citizens, but also I want people to be able to get involved, because I want some sort of cinematic attempt. I'm going to do what Minecraft Diaries did, basically, and still keep the essence of the survival series for some time, until such a point where I'm comfortable with a lot more of the cutscenes and going to, like, fully cinematic. I'm not sure if that will ever actually happen for this particular series, but you know, it's something to consider. Because obviously, you know, because I mean, I have other follow-up plans and stuff as well that I haven't really talked about. Again, that's for way down the line. Who knows? Because it'll probably take some time to get there. But yeah, at least have some sort of show to work on. Like, make the most of this summer, because I know for a fact that, you know, the third year of university is going to get much more intense for me. Like, I've been warned about that by my parents, I've been warned about that by the tutors. Like, there's a lot running, because, you know, it's the year that I'm supposed to be, you know, getting my degree. So yeah, there's a lot on the line, basically. Because yeah, I don't know. And also we're going back into, like, physical study and whatever, which means we're doing more practical work. Which means I'll probably be a lot more tired than I usually am. I mean, who knows? I do wonder how that's going to affect stuff like the Music Girl going forward, because I was quite lucky that I started the series sort of towards the end of my time at LIPA, which was a very, very intense one-year course. I barely left any time at all. And then afterwards, Season 1 was still going on, basically, when I went to the uni that I'm at now. But yeah, it's been... So then I at least was able to use the greater free hours to my advantage, and then COVID happened, and that was almost exclusively what happened, because, you know, I wasn't super tired after a day's worth of acting, or sometimes writing. You never know. These things can be taxing. I also wanted to see if I could actually finally sign up for a club, because I didn't do that in my first year, and I regretted that. I think I was still either getting used to things, or I just was, like, not in the headspace to do so. But yeah, I looked at the radio team twice now, thinking I could do some sort of, like, radio dramas, but no, that didn't quite work the way that I planned. I could always try just regular podcasts, but then what would I talk about? It's not like the uni people are interested in the realms of AFMAO or gacha or anything. Who knows? But yeah, the other one place I might go is like the gospel choir, because they added me last year to their on Instagram, because I talked to them. I was like, well, yeah, I want to see what this is like, and also just want to like reconnect with people. So I have no idea what I'm going to end up doing after the summer, like how much is going to be taken up, because I dedicated all the time that I could over lockdown to the internet, because that was basically the best chance to do so. Everyone was stuck at home looking for a distraction, and so they gravitated to places like, Netflix or Disney Plus or YouTube, in fact. So it was the perfect chance to do so, and I knew that going in. Like, this is the moment that, I need to really dedicate to my channel, see what's going for it, because I'm never going to get the chance like this ever again. We're in a dire situation right now. I intend to make the absolute most I possibly can out of this. And so I did. But yeah, now that I've got into that loop, when I go back, I'm going to have to break that. And I wonder what that's going to end up looking like, because I'm already thinking that there's probably going to be a stream or something on one of the days that I'm supposed to be like called. Like, for example, maybe it's on Monday, or it's a 4-day skip, so it might be Tuesday, and those shoots end at midnight, which means I have to record a stream in advance so that I can, and schedule it so that I can be there on the time of 5 years later, because I'm not going to be awake enough to do anything after midnight if they do want me for all of those, which they seem to do, actually. So yeah, I really don't know. It's one of those things. Like, the Friday one ends at 6:30, so I'll be fine probably going back. Might be a little bit late, I'm not sure, depends on travel time. But yet, just stuff like that, as life is going to keep happening, I'm going to probably have to, I'm going to have to look at the balance, because I've always favored YouTube over life, and it's really affected like, my relationships with people in real life, like my friends and family and stuff. It's like I've come this close to the actual like ultimate goal that I set myself, to the ability to actually get to 1K, and then when I worry about the watch time, actually be able to get income and whatever, actually have something pay off rather than just, emotionally, like it always has. I mean, even on the Butter Bunch, there's a good chance, because we were growing so quickly at one point, and then I kind of just went focusing on the main channel because of puppy love, and then it just kind of stopped for a bit. I need to get back into the swing of things and see if, the fan base haven't all fully left. I really hope they haven't, because there's a lot of people there who are really, really active, and I loved talking to. And yeah, I don't know if I've squandered that. There's a chance that will also have to be put on hold, because it's, it's my second channel. It's a community channel that's shared, but it's the second one, and most of the stuff that does really well happens to be the content that I produce, the what ifs, the Dragon Ball videos and stuff. So there will need to be something there as well. So yeah, I know that I'm in for a tough year, basically. Which is not really what you want, because, they say, oh yeah, college, best years of your life and whatever, You want to make the most of it. Well, yeah, they say make the most of life all the time. But then, what's left to do? Like, you make the most of everything, you seize every opportunity, and then how do you focus on yourself? Is it truly making the most of life if there's no part that allows you to actually, live it? I've always wondered that. Because on one hand, I love when these opportunities arise and stuff, and I always try and see the benefits, because I know that something can lead me somewhere. Like, even being like a runner for this place. I can actually like make connections or something, and I don't know, maybe one time if I'm doing a thing for a company or something that's not making a film, maybe they're making some sort of promo video, something to voice something, they'll find me, and then, you know, that kind of stuff. There's possibilities, as I've been informed. So I really don't want to say no to anything, but at the same time I know that I have to. Because I've always been of the mindset of, oh yeah, well, I'm going to try and do everything that I can and see what actually works. But that just doesn't happen. Like, I haven't properly finished a book in 2 years. Like, I haven't finished any of the stuff that I started writing in 2 years. I used to finish at least one book a year, even if I started 5. Yeah, I want to try. I want to be ready, but at the same time, I still don't know how. Like, people always wonder, you know, I get asked, you know, why don't I come downstairs and talk to people or whatever? When I was up in my room. It's because I don't allow myself time. I'm too busy seizing every opportunity or whatever. Most of that's online these days. I know, it's been a debate that I've had for years, and I know that I'll probably never come to a proper conclusion of it. Doesn't mean I'm not going to try, but I don't see much hope, basically. I mean, here I am, you know, still making sure that the channel's still active and everything, ignoring, you know, people, my other ideas, you know, the books. I tried to get a book published by an actual company in 2019, and I just kind of left them on hold for years, partly because of lack of funds, but also because I just haven't been in the mindset to even edit the book. Because there's always either a new script, a new idea, a new pitch, a new something. And I'm one of the people who always tries to finish what they start. Like, look at the fact that I'm still doing My 63 or The Mutant Girl or even Walking Wednesday, you know? I know that I do that all the time, that I used to start a new series and just finish it, but I always intend to come back someday. I started and finished Colmenar Viejo. I left that on like sort of a cancelled moment in 2015, and yet in 2018 I came back and made it into Tales of Nicanor. And now I want to carry that on. I want to conclude the story. I want to get to that follow-up point that I was intending to all that time. I want to tell that story. Be able to. That's the real question. I don't know. I just don't want everything to be for nothing, you know? There's going to be some point. I was talking to Miss Devil recently, and she told me that her mum apparently gave her a time limit to see if YouTube actually works out. And that time limit was 1 year. And yeah, it's like, well, and apparently that the working out means like 40, 70k, I think 700 like per video or something, I can't remember. Sorry, that car is too squeaky, I'm trying to move. And it really made me think, like, what would I do if I had 1 year to make YouTube work? What would I do if I didn't just bide my time, hope that one of these things works out? What if I actually was able to knuckle down and focus? It couldn't be this year, certainly. And, you know, depending on what I do next, the year after that, if I end up getting a good enough grade to do a master's, then I'll be doing that. If I take a year off, I'd probably be finding another job somewhere, not so like a runner, probably like a stable thing. Would I even have enough time? But people always have time for that, you know. They have YouTubers have other jobs and they work around them. But who knows? If I had 1 year to do YouTube, what would I do? Like, would I do gacha? Because the standard of gacha now is that it takes forever to actually achieve. It's not like I'm not like Miss Devil in the sense of actually having the proper skills to potentially pull that off. And obviously, it requires, the way that I do stuff, it requires a lot of voice actors and editing time and whatever. That relies on too many people. Would I do Minecraft? If so, then again, same issue with a lot of people, but also if I did singular stuff, then what would I do? Because a lot of the Minecraft videos you see nowadays are, there's either have like excessive like subtitles or whatever, or like already established like one series or something. And if so, what would that be? Or would I do something else? Would I do like talk about the stuff I've wanted to talk about for years, like Spanish dubs, other shows? I want to do like scripted analyses of stuff. In which case, would I be putting all my effort into one series and not going anywhere? And again, I just really don't know. This is one of those things. Like, I really wish that I could find a way to do a proper, steady branding. If anything, the closest I've come is like, the what ifs, which, granted, don't always take that long to do, and they get a lot of interaction for ages. But that's, of course, on a different channel. In which case, do I let the one that I've tried to grow to 1K for years die, basically? Do I just keep posting just Walking Wednesday and AFMAL streams, which not everyone watches or wants to interact with? And I understand that. Like, what would I do in that situation? Do I even attempt to find out? Or do I just keep doing what I'm doing now? And the answer, I guess, is, since I don't know, what do I change? What habits do I keep and what do I not? I've tried to communicate this to people before, like, whenever I get asked about my plans for YouTube or stuff, I always have to either heavily paraphrase or really over-explain what I'm talking about. That's when my parents ask me about it or whatever. And the reason I don't like talking about it is because I don't know what to actually say to them. How do I make it make sense to anyone but myself? And you might say, oh yeah, well, the more you do that, the more it's gonna work. Well, I don't know. Because they're the ones that are always saying to me to, get out there into the world again and whatever, which makes it worse. Like, the expectation of trying to actually, do stuff again, and the whole imminent idea of like, yes, I have all these plans already, but then somebody else is already pushing me to do stuff that I might not necessarily either have the time or inclination to do, and they don't even realize. Like, it just makes it so much worse, and it has the opposite effect. I don't know if either of them realize that the more that somebody gets pushed to do something that they don't necessarily, not prepared to do, the less they want to do it. Like, it seems like such a basic psychology concept, but it just feels like that's not what's happening. And there's also like the guilted language of the fact that, oh yeah, do you not want to spend time with your family or whatever? It's like, yeah, I try, okay? It's just not that easy. So yeah, how do you communicate stuff to somebody who doesn't understand and almost refuses to see the bigger picture? Or maybe they see the bigger picture and I don't, whatever. You just keep hitting the same thing all the time. And then you're like, this isn't perfect. So yeah, that's where I've been stuck. How long have I been stuck in that loop? Well, I don't know, honestly. Honestly, longer than I care to think about. Like, if YouTube had actually worked out the way that I thought it would by this point, then it wouldn't be too much of an issue. I want to get to a stage where I can basically go on somewhat of a break, maybe have a few things lined up, and people will still be invested enough, people will be invested enough for me to come back and, keep doing what I'm doing. But whenever I do that, whenever I stop doing a certain thing, and I try and revive it again, the audience have moved on. So I essentially cannot stop these things. Again, the Mutant Girl is sort of a testimony to that. Like, in a way, I want the series to carry on, but also because I can't really start other series a lot because it takes too much time. And either if I did do what the gacha tubers did, and they start like something with no voice acting, just screenshots, and if it was to do that, it won't feel the same because it will be a downgrade. It seems weird now to say because of how primitive the first season of Mutant Girl looks, but I started off on such like a big pedestal and like trying to really elevate what was going on, and there was not much, if not anything, like the Mutant Girl at the time that it was made, like when I first started. So I always tried to keep that sort of standard, but it just results in not being able to do anything else. So what's the solution? Do you keep going at it? Do you end the series and try a new experiment and like it never happened, or you just keep the one thing that you have focused on going for ages? That's one of the other reasons I keep the series going, not just because the story's not done, but because if I do finish it, I'm resetting from what I've got now. Like, the first episode of Mutant Girl, it got maybe like 100 views in the first month or so, or week, I can't remember. It's got 1,000 now. Why? Because new people discover the series, they go back and they watch all of it. And there's a lot to watch now. And there's one way to get good watch time, is basically just to keep going with the Mutant Girl and keep the one series that I've actually had consistent. It's one of the closest bits I've ever come to of having a consistent brand. But obviously, I try to make new things. I tried with Puppy Love, basically. A whole different gacha thing. It's not really the same. Although, one thing I have been thinking about with Blackjack actually is marketing. Because we looked at this series that the Blackjack did, the first ever series of gacha, that got 16,000 views, and it was one of the typical titles are like, Vampire X Werewolf Lesbian Love Story. The title is basically the premise. Like, yes, the Mutant Girl is about a mutant girl, and that was sort of the idea, but the way that was founded was all on the premise of originality, because there was no other series called The Mutant Girl at the time. I checked. That's why I went with that title. And weirdly enough, there still isn't. Like, if anyone thinks of The Mutant Girl, the only association for the time being, and for the past 3 years actually, because of the music video from 2018, is me. And that's amazing, obviously. But in terms of the way that gacha works, the cycle of, trying to use the same titles and maybe find some sort of hidden diamond in the rough, where the only difference is the thumbnails, essentially. It's like, well, of course no one's watched it. Of course the only people watching it are the ones that are really invested in the story and keep it going, and the ones that find it years later and check all of the playlist to catch up to where it currently is. Of course that's the matter. But yeah, then what do I do? Because that's the one plan that I think I've actually come up with recently, is maybe one new show, something that I haven't looked at before. Maybe do what Aiden does with limited casting and make it a title that people recognize. Still keeping my usual style, obviously, but just working on something else and seeing if it works. Like make not even a series, just a gacha mini movie, something a bit more low key, still voice acted. Maybe not with all the cinematography in the world or something. Maybe just a few one-off projects. See if someone actually gets invested enough to care about a possible sequel or whatever else I've got going on. Maybe that's the way forward. Because it's still gacha, and it's not something that I have to keep going, and it might be a well-rounded enough story just to have it stand on its own. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. Or I think that's scratch that. I think that's what I want to do. Just so I don't stress, just so I can keep going, just so, I don't know, maybe in this crazy world there's still an audience out there that might be looking for just the same stuff again, but maybe come across something original. And maybe then I'll find some sort of balance for myself. But who knows? Please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments if you really watched this far, because if you watched this far, then congratulations, you've watched the longest ever Walking Wednesday. You know, episode 111 and everything. Never gonna happen again. It's not for another 111 episodes if I keep this going for, I don't know, another 2 and a bit years. Good God, that would be interesting. Walking Wednesday just never ends. That's the one thing that I keep doing that never stops. Other than, of course, you know, the stuff I mentioned before. So yeah, I'm gonna look into Seneca North Season 2. You know, maybe try and find some sort of other stuff. Maybe dig out some of the old scripts that I never finished. Put them to good use. And then, after that, I shall produce something. I shall find that balance and also make the most of the summer. But until that point, once again, subscribe if you've not done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.